With the design heading that we have here, we want a brand new, colourful, unisex fashion brand targeted towards 18 to 30-year-olds, and that design needs to be responsive so it works well on mobiles and laptops. Then, some other things that we have in here are regarding the products needing to have their own colours, so a bit of variation in the colours. Things like products needing to have optional sizes. So we sent a combination of this brief that we have here and also the client's brief over to our designers and left them to come up with something based on that. So we have this project designed using Figma, a collaboration between Darren Millay and Milan, who's our person in charge of all things design at Superhigh. And this is what we have. So you'll be able to find the Figma link from the guides. And also, if you don't have Figma, inside the assets are a bunch of flat versions as well. So you can have a look at those too. So I'm going to be using Figma for this project, just like we were used to in the last one. And what's good about that is we can grab measurements, find out typefaces, export assets, and much, much more. So we have some pages here. Firstly, we have the home page, and this tackles the brief in terms of saying, on the home page, we'd like to have a new arrivals section, which would be 3 new products. So we've got these 3 new products. Rather than just the last 3, they want to be able to select those. So this is something we'll tackle later on. We should be able to sell the products online using credit cards. So that's unrelated, but this is something we're going to tackle next week. Some products have different sizes, but they also have these categories. So tops, bottoms, shoes, and accessories. So this is our home page. And down the bottom there, we also have our video. So we've got a little video down there. And this is what the individual category pages are going to look like. So at the top, we have a featured image. And this is the kind of navigation we have. So when we're on the current one, it's going to highlight white. The rest will fade out into a sort of lighter color. And then we have our list of products in a rule of thirds grid. You can see here, this is the hover state. So when we hover over, we want to be able to show the product name and the price. And each one has a background color to it. So there's a few things we need to figure out in terms of our design here. This is what our bottoms will look like, using the same layout, but just different content in there. Then for our shoes, looking very good. We have a nice acid green going on there. And then we have our accessories. So looking back at the brief, what do we have? We've got our products, which are arranged into categories. So we've got our 4 categories. They'll be able to add and remove and edit these. Each category has a featured image. So that's what we see at the top there. So our design is hitting all the points of what we need in terms of functionality. Now each product has its own selected color in the background there. We'll allow them to change that. Then if we look at the products themselves, so going over to the right hand side, we have this individual product. For that, they can select size and color. So we have these variations on products. That's something we'll dig into later on. We'll see how we can create different variations on individual products. And then some related items. So a bit similar to Amazon. When I search for a vinyl, let's just go to All Saints on vinyl, where we have the related items. So this idea of customers who bought something, suggesting some similar items to it. Cool. And then in the footer, we've got a few things going on. Customer support. So we can add this into our content. Say customer support page. What is this actually going to be? Is this going to be a contact form? Is it going to be some mailing address details? these are some questions we can go back to the client with because we're not quite sure and we don't really want to do the guesswork there. They might have their own system in place for handling customer support and things like that. We've got gift cards, so we can ask the client, what are gift cards? They weren't mentioned in the brief, so there's always questions we can come back to the clients with. Student discount. So what are student discounts? Then lastly, returns and exchanges. So this is more related to the terms and conditions, the sort of policies. What are the terms and conditions with returns and exchanges? Cool, so I can put this under a sort of subheading. We can perhaps make this questions to ask the client. Cool. And then down here we've got social links as well. So that's something we need to find out also. Cool. But apart from that, everything was pretty clear in the brief. So we have that search functionality in the top left. Also got a basket. And one thing that is missing, that's not vitally important for us up front, is that design needs to be responsive. So currently what we have is just these desktop views, and that's something we can go back to the designers with to ask about how these things might fit on mobile. We don't necessarily need to have a whole new design. We can design with responsiveness in mind and a bit of flexibility. So we'll kind of tackle that as we go along. As you saw from last week, we introduced responsiveness quite easily, and we'll take the same approach with this project. So we can go into our shopping list and we can tick off our brand new colourful unisex fashion brand, and the target market has been nailed down, really hits that aesthetic. So we can be happy with that. The third one we need to go back and ask about.